welcome back. Today we're doing another brake job on the Jeep. The bleed nipples are completely seized and the brake cylinders are leaking here in the drum brakes. To get them out, there is a little screw on the back. It's a 3/8 hex head, and they actually moved surprisingly good. We got some new screws for that. So to get that off, you need to pry those springs out, the other side as well. Remove the brake pipe, which sits here, probably hard to see, which sits here on the back, and then you can pry the brake shoes away and hopefully get the cylinder out without dismantling the whole thing. So that's how the new one looks like, and that's the old bugger. I just pinched off the brake line because we're going to do a new one anyway. We show in a minute how to flare those. The reason why I needed to bleed the whole system was because I recently drove down a lane and a stone hit my brake line, so it was leaking. So I had to fix that, and apparently I discovered I can't bleed it because that bleed nipple here didn't move, and I didn't want to break it off. Also, we can see the thing is leaking like hell. Yeah, you can see that. It's all wet. So that's time for a new one anyway. I had them for quite a while. I just didn't get around to do it. Alright, so the new one goes in this way. New bolts here. And we'll make a new brake pipe in a minute. And then we bleed the system and everything should be fine. Yeah, you got to take all the springs off and just pry one of the shoes a bit away, and then you can actually get it in. And so it doesn't need to take everything apart, because the shoes are still okay. They're not too old. Alright. So for flaring, we use one of these tools. Probably one of the best investments I've ever done. They are fantastic tools. Don't forget to put your nipple over. For the Jeep you need the ones with the thread to the front. I just machined them down. Otherwise there's not enough thread to hold the whole thing. So move your nipple over, put that over. This screw is just for getting the pipe in the right position. So screw it in about 5 millimeters out, snug the pipe up, and then snug it up, and then just wind that in. So you got the correct length, and then just tighten those up. Make sure they're tight and not moving. What I usually do, I'll make myself a mark so I know it's not moved, just here. And then you got two sides on the American flares. There's an arrow on it. This is the first one. So get your set screw out and screw that thing in and just wind it in. Goes relatively easy. It even works fantastic under the car. You only need about that much length, straight line. So now you got the first flare, and then you do the other side. The European flares, they only got one. I got another tool for the Europeans. That's 4.75 millimeter brake pipe, and the nipples are 3/8 by 24 UNF. Apparently that's standard on the cheap. So, and then you just take the screws out, lift it apart. Get out. There you go. Looks good. And that's how it comes together. And now we get the length to the other side. Job done. So we got the length. I always use a piece of wire because that makes it easier to bend it around and get the right length. So just get your wire, cut it off. I use a pipe cutter because first the cut is straight, second you have less shavings in the pipe, and obviously always blow it out before you use it. For bending I use one of these. Just put it in and pull it around, and okay, we need our nipple. Never forget the nipple. And then same story as before. These punches sometimes need a bit of grease. They come with some special grease. It's actually brake system grease. Do not use normal grease. That's not good for your brake system. Just stick with what they give you. Same story here. Just get it adjusted. Sometimes a bit difficult. If it's too wide open, you can actually set that bolt a little bit offset, which you don't want really. So just make sure everything is nice and tight. Check the nipples before you do anything. That looks good to me. And then just screw in the set screw, tighten it up. Same story as before. Make sure this is tight, because otherwise it may slip out. It's easier with the conifer brake lines. With the steel ones you need to tighten it up really hard, because otherwise it slips out, especially if they're not new. If they're old, you may have some issues with that. So every now and then just put a bit of punch grease on that thing, and helps to make it moving slick. Check the arrow points to point 1, and then just screw it in. To the outside flare. We're done with our brake pipe. They cost around £60, $75, and they're definitely worth the money. I don't want to really use anything like that anymore, because this is actually a piece of junk, and it only does European flares here. This is, I keep it, but it's you can't compare it really. Alright, so we go to the car and bend it in the right places, and that's about it. Just in case someone is interested in, I have no connection to this company. It's called PowerHand. PowerHand brake flare tool SAE, and they do a metric edition as well. No label on it, but it's the same, just for metric threads, M10. And yeah, I really like it. It's great. Alright, let's carry on. And that's the brake pipe material we use. It's called cheapo nickel, which is a lot softer and easier to work with than the steel ones. So we got everything in place here. For bleeding we use one of these vacuum pumps here. You just hook it in, and then you just put it on the nipple, turn the nipple open, and you can see eventually how the air is coming out. There's lots of air coming. Now it's getting better. And do that until no bubbles coming anymore, and then job done. If you bleed your brakes with a vacuum pump, make sure there is enough fluid in your reservoir, because you're just pumping everything out. We're just at a minimum now. So let's put the brake drum back on and see if you got pressure and the pedal is stiff and not soft. The bleed nipples are here. They only need to be firm, tight, but not really awfully tight, because otherwise you're not going to get it off anymore. That was the problem I had with the old one. So we're done so far, and that's just the end which goes on the nipple, and then if you push it, it just sucks the shit in. And once you're done, put a rubber on the back here, and I'll show you in a minute how they look like. You can buy them cheaply. It's just to protect from dirt going in. These are these little rubber things. If you lose them, make sure you replace them, otherwise you may be in trouble, and just keeps everything clean. They cost pennies, so not worth saving the money on there. Alright, so and once you're done, just make sure there is enough brake fluid in it. We're just going to top that up, and we call that job done. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, until next time.